Hello, everybody. My name is Rodgon. I'm an artist. I'm a designer. I'm an illustrator. I am, more importantly, let me turn on the light so it's easier. Oh, there you go. That looks better. Today, I am your instructor. Hello. How are you guys doing today? Are you guys having a lovely day? Are you guys having fun? Do you guys want to learn something cool? So, I spend my days teaching you guys how to draw and teaching you all how to unlock all these cool things that you guys want to learn to draw, from anatomy sketches to pinups. In general, I am just a person that enjoys explaining art to people. So today I have a really cool concept that I want to talk to you guys about. And I'm going to essentially call them squishies. I think we're gonna call like these little forms that we draw for form, these little like starfish thingies. We're gonna call them squishies. A squishy. A squishy can be used to draw things like humans and people really easy. A squishy can be used to draw animals really easy. So these little tiny, what I'm gonna call master shape. This is a master shape, right? This is a shape that can be used for a lot of different things. And if you learn how to squish it, it gives you access to learning how you can use your body a little bit better. Yeah. So understanding this eventually leads to a better understanding of this. But squishies, they're not hard to draw either. They're literally just circles. If you draw a circle and you split it into four, right, you're going to have four quadrants. Draw a little tiny nubby coming from the end of each one of these. And you have yourself a little tiny starfish or star. When you overlap these lines a little, you end up with depth. And the more you overlap them, the more depth you get. So if you just control the position of those lines and everything, you can always just move them around, add a head in between, and you have yourself a little squishy. Hi, Rodgun, can you tell me how to come up with poses to draw my OCs? Ooh, well, this is gonna help you a lot, right? Because drawing these guys is really easy. And these guys teach you posing. So understanding how to draw, let's say, two circles together gives you depth, right? If you draw two circles like this, there's no depth. There's no overlap. If you draw two circles like this, there's depth. There's overlap. If we put a head in each one of these, you're going to understand what's more likely to create something like a head, right? So if we overlap a little shape and we start adding little details, it starts looking a lot more like a head than not. So that very simple concept is going to help you be able to develop like depth, right? Just knowing that two things have to cover each other in order for there to be depth. If two things aren't covering each other, there cannot be depth. If two things are not overlapping, you cannot create depth. There has to always be something covering something else if you want it to be distance between each other. So that's why I find it really silly whenever people are drawing legs and stuff like that they're afraid of covering parts of their drawing. Essentially, being able to do that is what allows you to draw things coming towards you. right? Things like that are very necessary, especially when you're drawing things like superheroes and stuff like that. You need to be able to draw extreme positions, front and back. And in different positions, right? It doesn't just come from like the bottom or the top. It's going to come from different directions. So understanding that doesn't require a ton of perspective either. It's just a matter of learning how to overlap a couple lines. So if you're wondering, oh, do I need to learn like, oh, perspective grids and stuff like that to learn this? You don't at all. You just need to learn to overlap a couple lines. You just need to overlap shapes. And then choose how much of this you overlap. Right? You can create a lot of depth by just overlapping shapes. The more you overlap them, the more they're going to be underneath the other object. Are you allowed to make this look easy? What do you mean? Like, do you think this is really hard? Do you find this to be difficult to do? Just drawing shapes and then choosing how much of these you overlap. You already have the guidelines. You just get to choose what to draw with them. Right? In my case, I want to choose to draw that as a leg. Cool. I'm going to draw another little hip bone. I'm going to draw that same shape in a different direction, that same other shape in a different direction, and then this bottom shape in a different direction. Boop-a-doo. And now I have two legs with two overlapping shapes, right? Going in different directions because of the directions of the lines I chose. Overlapping shapes help you with your bodies. They help you with your concept with your legs. They help you with everything down to your fingers, right? Understanding overlapping shapes is the reason that maybe your hands are too kind of like boring, right? Or your poses might be a little bit stiff because you don't know how to draw through them to be able to come up with cool poses. Yeah. Drawing through your shit is the reason and the whole point of understanding perspective. This is perspective, but it's not with a horizon line. Right? There's no horizon grid and little boxes going into a point and shit like that. But this is still perspective. Moving something in space by just simply overlapping it and changing the direction of the overlap and creating a completely different shape is a really, really useful skill to learn. So learning just how to overlap two shapes differently is so incredibly useful. Okay, so let's see a whole body. So the whole body would be circle for the rib cage, like a little egg, a circle that's rounder for the hip bones. From there, you would draw two little circles again in the bottom to create your hip bones. I would draw two overlapping shapes about the same distance from here to here to create my thigh, and an overlapping one to create my ankles and my shins. Then another little one pointing in a different direction to create my foot. I would do that. And then from here, I would draw a little circle at the top. And then, you know how I drew two circles here for the sides? I'm going to draw two circles here for the sides of my body. I'm going to connect the edges. And I have a little torso. From there, the same thing we did here. Arm number 1, arm number 2, arm number 3. Arm number 1, arm number 2, arm number 3. The head is going to be the size of this little circle you did. It's not going to get bigger. It's not going to get smaller. It's going to be the same size. Okay? And then your ears are wherever that head touches the neck. That's where you draw your ear. So now let's do that again. Circle number 1 as like a little egg for the body. Circle number 2, a little rounder for the ability to draw your hip bones. Intersect them and draw 2 little circles at the bottom. You can set your midline in between your hip bone holes and wherever you want your rib cage to be. Draw a little circle at the top. This little circle should roughly be about 1/3 of the entirety of your rib cage, if you want it to be more like normal human. Okay, so about 1/3. 1, 2, 3. The remainder, it's another circle and another circle. So those 3, there's going to be 3 divisions to your body. You're going to realize that very heavily in the next step, understanding the rule of 3. Then from there, it's 3 circles, right? 1, 2 that are the same size but overlapping, and the third one, whatever shape you want for your foot. 1, 2, 3. Anything that touches these circles is going to look like a leg, because you have now magically learned how your actual hip bones work. So now you can draw legs in any direction. If this is front view, how would you draw a profile? Well, you make these either thicker or thinner. So the bottom circle, if you want it to be frontal view, you draw 2 little spaces, which is your hip bones and space for your goodies. Okay, that's a front view. Your legs would come down at an angle, create legs. Okay, regardless of whatever type of legs you want to draw. Okay, it doesn't have to be these. It can be little simple ones too. Okay, like yay, little chibi ones for all you care. The next step to learning how to do like a 3/4 is simply making one of these bigger, one of this thinner. But you're not really making it thinner, you're just drawing it on the other side. So one of them becomes thicker, the other one just goes on the other side. Just draw the same thing. Just make this one thicker. This one's gonna get thicker, so it's gonna overlap a little bit. And then that's the same concept. You draw your leg. But now the leg is gonna be looking, and the overlap is going to create a 3/4 view. And again, regardless of it being a little chibi character or being somebody that has a lot more detail. So that's how you create a 3/4 view. To create a profile, you take that same circle and you attach it to the back of the shape, but make it thicker, leaving a little space in the front for your goodies. Again, this is where your goodies would go. Okay, whatever type of goodies you have, they would need to be there. You need space for them. So that's why you push that circle towards the back. This is also going to be your hip bones, which is attached to your rib cage via your spine. So if you just draw a line up from the back of your shape, you're going to have the connecting point for your rib cage. It's also going to be the connecting point for your head. So as you can see, just learning that little aspect of that shape from that circle can help you understand how to build the rest of your body. Your legs are going to come from here. Right? And again, a complete profile, this would be exactly on the same spot on the other side. Normally, you don't want to draw complete profiles, so I would probably draw it around here, just to avoid like having too much symmetry. Okay, your arms are going to come out of here at the top of this little egg shape, remember? We drew a circle and then we drew a circle, just like the hip bone on the side. Your arm comes out of there. Play on their cell phones. Okay? That's where our arms come from. Moving your arms in different directions becomes easy once you learn where they come from and how they're supposed to go. Because now you know where they connect to the body. So now you can move them in any way you want as long as they come back to that. As long as you connect it back to your hip bone holes, you can draw your legs going in any direction you want. Okay, this is the magical point. These are the magical points. This is what you need to keep in mind. Because you can draw your leg in any direction once you understand how it connects to the body. Could you do one with the back facing us? Yeah. I've been silent, but I appreciate this tutorial. I have been watching for a while, and you explain good. I explain good. So the front view and the back view are going to be the same thing, right? Front view, you draw your hip bones like that. You draw a little egg for your rib cage, and you have your collarbone in your head. Okay, the middle of your rib cage. This becomes your legs. Let's simplify them a little bit so that we can easily draw that. It looks like a midget, but it's okay. Okay, the front view, you're going to have your hip bone, and you have your goodies right there. Okay, those circles give you your hip bones into your abs, by the way. So that's really cool. So from the back, you're going to draw the exact same circles because it's an X-ray. This is the front and the back, depending on how you see it, right? We're going to draw that same egg, but instead of overlapping these little hip bones in the front, you're just going to draw a straight line for your butt. Boop. So now these become your booty. This becomes your spine. You still have the collarbone and everything, but you don't see these lines. This line is invisible because it's on the other side. Your head is going to be the same size as that little circle, and your ears are going to be on the side. Your back muscles and stuff like that, they're a little complicated. I got to say, they are probably the more complicated muscle structures to learn, but there are ways to explain them really easy. Okay? So understanding the hip bones, it's just a matter of, do you need it from the booty? You draw a straight line, right? And that's how you get your like shots from behind. If you want somebody from the front, those little circles that you draw become the indentations for your hip bones. That's where your legs come from. So when you're drawing your abs and stuff like that, it would be right there. That is where that is. Like it becomes super simple if you just actually just do it simply. And then whenever you start getting good, as they say, you're gonna be able to move those around. So let's say you want super cool pin-uppy ones. Boo, boo, boo. Right? You're gonna learn to overlap your shapes. You're gonna learn to do these things. And it's going to generate really cool art. Okay? Once you learn how these things work, these two little magical shapes, drawing the rest of it becomes relatively simple. Better. What have I missed? Today's lesson was just essentially building squishies and then using the squishies to create depth and using depth and circles to create volume and using overlapping volume to create bodies and using the same basic shapes we learned at first, the little circles, to be able to create the entirety of the body. And then from there, learning how to move your body, even if it's different styles, and learning how to rotate your hips and move your legs. And then we learned how to draw the front and the back and the sides and everything, all within like 20 minutes. So I think we're gonna call it a day for like now. We're gonna call this a day so we can upload this to YouTube, and then we can just log back in and play some music and stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna just call it for this one. Thank you so much for being my students. Thank you for letting me teach you how the squishies work and how you can generate volume through overlapping shapes very simply. This is how you learn to draw and rotate your heads in different ways, by the way. We're going to hop back in, and then I'm just going to fill the page with examples because I can't leave a page like this. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll hop on. No, yeah, I want to hop on here in music. I want music. So this will be on YouTube. I'll upload this later. I'll upload this to TikTok as well. It seems like it lets me do like longer video formats now, so I can upload that in parts. And yeah, love you all. Take care. See you guys later. Bye.